Well, has anybody ever read stories to children? Your own or somebody else's? They've done that like when kids are small. Many years ago, I'm talking like 11, 12 years ago, when my brother's kids were all much younger. And Bryson and Aaron and I had little Amy. And they were getting ready to go to bed. And their mother came up to me and said, Dave, how about you reading the kids some bedtime stories? You don't want me to do that. I said, no, the kids would really enjoy it because you're always so jovial and you're always so, you interpret things so well. I said, okay, you asked for it, I've got it for you. So we started off with the story of the three little pigs. Three little pigs, three little pigs went off to find their way in the world. We got caught up in a melange of violence with this big bad wolf. They were in a house of straw and sticks. And then they finally got themselves a house of brick. And the big bad wolf tried to come down and get them. And they put a boiling pot of water underneath the fireplace there. The big bad wolf comes in and is boiled alive. So that was a comment like that. That all by itself is pretty terrible, isn't it? It's already pretty terrible. But then I had to embellish the story. So, however, kids, the big bad wolf was protected under the Endangered Species Act. So federal marshals show up at the little pig's place and take them away into incarceration at a special penitentiary called the Hormel Correction Facility. However, they were not there very long. They were put in a witness protection sort of program, and they came out being called sausage, bacon, and ham. The kids really hadn't been able to put together that's where sausage, bacon, and ham come from. So, yes, that's the three little pigs. They were killed for that. Like, oh, no, it's not supposed to be like that, Uncle Dave. Oh yes, it is. Oh, well, certainly is. Tell us about it one time. They handed me the cricket or the grasshopper and the ant. Cricket, the ant, and the ant, and grasshopper, and the ant. I said, okay, great. Let's say, it was a cricket who spent his day away just playing and playing and playing. There was an ant who was very industrious. He was very, very industrious. Then it began to get cold, and the cricket had no food, and the ant had all the food. And the cricket would say, "Oh, can you help me? Oh, can you help me, little ant?" And they would say, "No. Well, it was summer, and you had time. You played away, you fiddled, and you made chirping sounds, and that was your thing." And I said, "No, so please, can I have some food?" They got into an embattlement about that. I said, and then Bryson, your brother, came in and stepped on the ant, and he picked up the cricket, and he used it as bait for fish. And he impaled the cricket with 2 times, 1 in, 1 out. And you could hear the little cricket screaming throughout the backyard to all the other ants and all the other insects as he used it for bait. The lesson of that story, kids, is everybody's going to die, so you better enjoy it. You might as well fiddle around or work as hard as you can. Everybody's going to end up dead. Again, the blank face, this is like kids who had just received socks for Christmas. Have you ever seen that look on somebody's child? Like, here you go, kids. Like, it's socks. It was one of those. No, that's not true. That's not true. I said, oh yes, it is. That's the way it is. I said, one more. They handed me The Little Mermaid. I said, you have upped the ante, kids. Here we go. So, the story of The Little Mermaid is about a mermaid who falls in love with a human and tries to save him from the watery depths as the ship is going down and drags him to the mainland. I said, and the little girl's like, and she becomes human. I said, no, there was an unregulated Japanese fishing boat that was looking for tuna and had come into intercoastal waters and scooped up the mermaid along with a bunch of tuna and other fish. I said, did she lose her voice? He said, well, kind of. Were her last words, so be it? I said, no, her last words were, ah! As the onboard processing unit turned her into tuna. I said, in fact, that tuna fish that we had for lunch today, I'm pretty sure I could taste some of the Little Mermaid in there. Like, no! So the girls are absolutely, they are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed. So I just closed the door, walked downstairs, and let them deal with that for a little while. A couple days later, I get a call from my brother. He says, "Brother dear," I said, "Yes, Ken." Yes. "Let's talk about telling the kids stories." I said, "Yes." I said, "I've got some bad news and I've got some good news." I said, "Well, what's the bad news first?" I said, "The little girls are waking up with screaming fits in the middle of the night, having nightmares of seeing the Little Mermaid turned into tuna fish." I said, "Oh, well, you know, that could happen." I said, "What's the good news?" I said, "Bryson has taken to eating canned tuna fish like a son of a gun." So what's the problem? Well, that's great. So no, that's bad too, because every time he'll open up a brand new can, he'll run up in front of the girls and say, "Mmm, Little Mermaid, Little Mermaid." But that's the way things are. You know, you can always have these fractured fairy tales. Those sort of things happen. Speaking of fractured fairy tales, where things, you know, it's not supposed to be that way. Not supposed to be this way. It's the title of the talk today. Anybody? This is a child's fairy tale, a children's tale by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And I will tell you, it came out in 1982. Came out in 1982, and I got to tell you, as an adult, if you have 15 minutes and a box of Kleenex, it is a great read. But as they say, I'm going to go ahead and give you the spoiler alert. The little boy dies. It's like, no, they're trying to explain death to children. It's like, no, this is wrong, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. No, because most people remember her as she's the lady that wrote On Death and Dying from 1969. You know, she's really well known for that. And about things that should not be, we talk about death and dying. There are 5 major areas that come up on death and dying. Anybody else start doing? What are some of the 5 stages? Denial. Okay, you're going to you're going to go to the next part of the speech. Talk here.
Bargaining.
Bargaining.
And the final one's acceptance.
Acceptance is the last one.
We learned them all in school.
Leave it to the nurse. Anger.
Anger.
It's one of mine. I stay locked in there a lot of times. But let me throw them out to you. In order. Or in orders. Denial. Anger. Bargaining. Depression. Acceptance. It's not the way it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like this. What that actually is pure, outright denial. You should think about that. I'm not talking about denials like we have in unity, like, oh, you know, I have affirmations, where I want to bring more stuff, expand in my life. I don't want to have denials, like wiping away cobwebs, as the Fillmore said. Nothing like that. Conversely, on the other side of the house with Ernest Holmes, he said there is no such thing as a real denial. And all the Fillmorians said, "What do you mean, Ernest Holmes?" He said, because the more you deny something, the more that it has a deeper presence in our own lives. That's the problem. So, I'm splitting hairs there, but that is two different ways of looking at denial from a new thought perspective. And remember, denial is not a river in Egypt. But we do a lot of denial. I mean, even regularly. Yeah, that was funny. You can. We do a lot of denial in unity anyway. Going to the World Congress of Religions, the airplane was packed with the congregation of Catholics, Episcopalians, and Unity Association of Church people. And unfortunately, slammed into the side of a mountain, all souls were lost. Everything was gone. All these people found themselves at the pearly gates in front of St. Peter, and said, "We weren't expecting this sort of influx today. I tell you what, we're going to have to put you in a waiting area for a while, kind of like down there. And can you be okay with that?" The 3 leading ministers and the priest said, "Yes, I think we can." So they went and were put in their own separate little places. I'm sure it was. In my former life, there was probably a special place for the Baptists, because when I was a Baptist, we thought we were the only ones that were going to be. No, that's heaven. Never mind, that's another place. But remember this, folks. Everybody's going to somebody else's hell. I'm just throwing it out in most world religions. But after a few years have passed, St. Peter said, "Oh my God, I forgot. I've left 3 congregations down there. I got to go check and see how they're doing." So he goes to the Roman Catholic group first. He said, "Are you okay? It's time to transport you and put you in your final place." The priest said, oh, we've been playing bingo for like 2 decades. It's great. We're having a wonderful time over here. Marvelous. And he goes to the Episcopalian guy and said, okay, hey, I'm so sorry about this. A little administrative mess up, you know. St. Peter, we've been doing wine tastings for 2 solid decades. We're fine. Would you care for some Chardonnay? And then they go to the unity group. The minister is standing just like this. Everybody's standing the same way behind him, like that. So we're not here, and it's not hot. Okay, that is denial. We can make affirmations all day long, but that's really what it's all about. That is not what we're talking about. So how do we get to this? How do we get to this denial? I want to talk to you about how I really think we get there, and we can talk about it just for a few moments. It's expectation of what we're looking for. We're expecting something, and we get something else. Like the girls and my nephew Bryson was expecting a traditional fairy tale. They're expecting something to happen. And it just didn't. Things happen in our own life. We work for something, and it doesn't quite work out. And our society is kind of conditioned that way. Because we say, if you work hard, and you study hard, and you graduate from a good school, you'll get a good job and make lots of money. That, ladies and gentlemen, is not necessarily the case. You know, if I eat my vegetables, then I will get ice cream. We're brought that as a child, right? If Bryson eats canned tuna, then his sisters will cry. You can pretty much be guaranteed on that one. Or if my parents are successes, I'll be a success too. If my parents have been married for 63 years, then I think my expectation would be I should be able to stay married for 63 years also. How's that working for me so far? Not so great. That's okay. But intention versus that, because we have what we call, the expectation. And then we have our intention. Let me describe intention for you and compare and contrast, because this is a week that I have been doing some serious soul searching on what should I expect and what is my intention. Because with expectation, now if you have a contract signed with somebody, and both parties have agreed to this, okay, you live up to your half of the contract, you're expecting them to live up to it. It doesn't happen like that. So what can we expect? What should we expect? And I got a great analogy from a surfer friend of mine. This is not funny, but it is kind of funny. What he was telling me, he said, Dave, when I'm out there on the water, my intention is to surf. And just to be one with the board and one with the water. That's called, that is my intention. I've just said that. I am one with everything out there at that point in time. The board, the water, the sky, the fish that are underneath there, the megalodons that might be underneath that, we're all one at a time. Now, if I say, I'm going to hit a wave and I'm going to end up over there, that is what we're calling, that is an expectation. And then I've said, at that point in time, I've corrupted the process. Because I am dictating how divinity or how Mother Nature is going to get me where I want to go. I have made the direction. I have called the shot. I have taken it out, if you will, God's hand. It's all about me. I've got it. And it was a very hard-hitting point for me. I said, okay, because I could kind of understand that. If you're just out there, I don't know how many people have friends that are surfers or used to have friends that are surfers. It was real big in the 50s. If anybody has seen the kids show, it's a cartoon, I think by Pixar, Surf's Up. Linda, you got kids that were younger, you remember Surf's Up? Surf's Up too? Okay, actually they're talking about penguins who surf. A little bit different, but it's all right. That's a hard-hitting one. It's like, okay, what's my expectation versus what is my intention? Now, by holding a preconceived idea of how the wave or what should be coming into our life, how it should look like, to be surfed in the direction of where the wave should bring you, will automatically pull us out of balance and have us tumbling into the surf or to the white water. Every time we have to dictate, and that's not really where we want to be. Our expectations thwart our joy because we are too busy being fixated with only one grain of sand on the enormity of a beach. We're looking at one thing. This is what I need to be happy. we miss the big picture. This is what it's going to be like. In New Thought, we can also say, we set the intention and we don't worry that much about the how we're going to get there. We have set the intention and we leave the rest of that for divinity to deal with. We set it, we repeat it, we know our greater good. Not like, I was in a class one time and the lady was saying, well, I want a new car. I wanted some reliable transportation. Okay, that is an intention. But then she started saying, well, I really want a Cayenne Porsche, red, mag wheels, Blaupunk speakers. And then the minister that was in the class said, hold on. What you're doing is filling out a shopping list. You're not leaving. Now, what if something was to happen, something better came along? Well, he said, I can't think of anything better. I said, well, that's right. You can't think of anything better, but divinity can. There's something that can be bigger, can be better brought into your life at that particular time. And what you've done is you've like squeezed it. You have narrowed your avenues or your revenue slots to come in. Anything, your channels of good, you have cut them off. What you're saying, only one thing can make you happy right now, and it's the red Cheyenne Porsche with the hardtop mag wheels, Blaupunk speakers. This is really something you might want to reconsider. That's fine. That's fine. I want to say something directly from Fillmore here. The key principle in having our abundance, or getting really what we want, how it's supposed to be, in all aspects of our life, or being able to, if you will, ride the waves, is letting go of anxiety and letting go of the final outcome. To be open to the infinite is to be infinitely supported. Short and short. Therefore, vulnerability is strength. Paradox is power. So the next time we get into something like this, and we say, it's not supposed to be that way, I would really like you to consider, like, what is it that I'm trying to do? Am I being so specific about something that I've cut off all other courses of action? Because perhaps, just perhaps, it is the way it's supposed to be. But if you don't like that, as we say in New Thought with Ernest Holmes and Charles Fillmore, change your mind, change your life. Namaste.